Hello, everyone. This is Raegon Reads, and this is my Q&A. It's my 500 sub Q&A. You may notice I have surpassed that number quite a bit, thanks to all of you crazy people who decide to listen to me and enjoy my work, along with all the great script writers that I have used. But let's not hesitate any longer and go ahead and get into this Q&A. So the first question comes from the Adventurer's Diary. And they say, "Hello, Raegon. I have a couple of questions. With the saturation of ASMR content on YouTube, do you feel there is an underrepresented niche that you'd like to explore?" Honestly, not off the top of my head. Perhaps maybe a little more focused on maybe on horror, but that'll be around October. Maybe less, sparkly vampire and more, oh goodness, I'm scared. But I suppose we'll see. Your channel has received a lot of attention recently. Congrats on the 800 plus subs, by the way. Obviously, this is a bit older of a question. Are you looking to expand your offerings with original content? Eventually, yes. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Perhaps I will try my hand at writing a few scripts. Perhaps it will be some lore vids. That has not been decided, but eventually, down the road, at some point, yes. And then finally, they ask, this sorry there, Adventure Diary. This coincides with the last question, which is, what might your audience be in store for as time goes on? Well, basically what I just said, and some more audios. You've Got a Deal is actually coming to a close here pretty soon, so I will be picking out some new long form scripts to do. I hope that answers your question, and thank you for asking. All right, next question comes from Stormy. Congrats on the 1K, dude. Thank you. As for a question, what would be your favorite meal and drink to have? Okay, so my favorite all-time meal is an old school classic, Southern classic that I grew up with, and we just called it chicken and rice. Now, you have two types of people in the South, and here comes a car. You know what? I'm not editing it out. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not doing it. All right. So, Southern classic, chicken and rice. You have two types of Southerners. You have Southerners that can cook and season, and you have Southerners that cannot. I'm of the type that can cook and season. My family is of that type. And so when we make chicken and rice, it's all sorts of flavors and seasonings together. It's basically a one-pot dish. Boil chicken, debone it, throw in some rice, throw in a bunch of different vegetables, peas, carrots, onions, garlic. We also throw in, may seem a little strange, but I promise you it works. We throw in black olives, green olives, jalapeno peppers. We throw that all in together, along with turmeric, saffron, if it's not insanely expensive, which it is, all sorts of different seasonings. And then cook it all up, and it ends up being absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorite meals of all time, and if I had to pick one meal to eat for the rest of my life, it would be that. I also top it with hot sauce because, I love hot sauce, as some people know well. As far as drink goes, nowadays I usually just stick with water or unsweet tea. Yes, controversy, unsweet tea. I get a lot of mess in either Twitch chats or VCs when I mention that, but unsweet tea is where I'm at, not for the sweet tea. If we're talking about all-time favorite drink, though, it has to be either root beer or ginger ale. I love those. So, all right, Stormy, thanks for the question, and moving on. Next up are two questions that are pretty similar to each other. I'll read both. The first comes from Chai, the Blazing Bunny. By the way, if I butcher any of your names, I apologize, but I'm going with what I got. So, Chai, the Blazing Bunny, asks, if you could travel anywhere you want, where would that be and why? They also ask, and if you could meet one person, dead or alive, who would it be? Congrats on the 800 plus. This is backed up with Ethereal ASMR. Hello, Ethereal. With, if you could go on a vacation anywhere, where would you go? Also, do you like brunch? Cover mouth smiley face. That's a borderline in joke there from Ethereal. But we'll answer the first question both of you have, which is, if I could travel anywhere, where would it be and why? Or vacation, where would it be and why? There's a few answers here. My first one, my main one, is I've always wanted to go. Ignore the notification. I'm not editing this video. I don't care. If I had to go somewhere, or could go anywhere, it's always been Rome. Rome has always attracted me because of the history, the people, the environment, and the museums, the monoliths. It's really the history. I've always loved it. It's a place I've always wanted to go, and hopefully I'll be able to go there one day. There's a few other places. Rome is the main one, but a few other places. Greece would be a great place to visit. The UK, anywhere in the UK, but specifically Scotland would be a great place to visit. I'd like to go to Ireland. I'd love to go to the Norse countries. Those would be great. And then, I mean, there's a few other places. So, one would be the Philippines. Would be a great vacation there, honestly. But other than that, I hope that answered both of your questions. Now, following up with Chai the Blazing Bunny, if I could meet one person, dead or alive, who would it be? Well, there's a couple of answers that I could give here, but let's go with the more fantastical route. Dead or alive? Who could I meet, dead or alive? This is a really good question because there's so many people in history. Meeting Caesar would be a lot of fun. Julius or Augustus in particular would be a lot of fun. Although, what type of meeting are we talking about? Can we understand each other? Or are they going to be speaking Latin? In which case, there would be very little communication. Those two would be really fun to meet. Any famous person in history would be neat. Any of the original founding fathers of America would be fun to meet, just to see what their ideas would be and what they would think about this country now. That would be fun. Yeah, so I guess we'll leave the answer with the more fantastical. So thank you, Chai the Blazing Bunny, for both of your questions. And then finishing up Ethereal's question. Also, do I like brunch? Now, I know it's a joking question, but unlike a lot of guys, I actually enjoy brunch. The food is generally fantastic. A lot of people just eat avocado toast, but no, not me. I go full bore. There was a brunch place that my dad used to take me and my sibling to, and we would eat all sorts of things. They would have fresh seafood in mid-morning, which is unusual for most American restaurants that I've been to, anyway. And it would be an experience, quite an experience. So I actually do enjoy brunch. So thank you, Ethereal. When are we going? Seriously, but you're paying. All right. Next up is going to be, all right, again, if I butcher your name, it's either Skyla or Skilla Lynn Leviathan. Which video that you've made is your favorite / most invested in, and why? Along with, is there any future plans for your channel, like the type of video you look forward to make more of? This is also along the lines with, I believe your name is pronounced Xylo or Zelo, a buddy from Twitter. He asks, what is your favorite video that you've made so far? So my favorite video that I've made so far, that's a bit of a difficult question. I like almost all of them. I would say my favorite video that I've made so far is, I mean, it's a series. So You've Got a Deal is the first series I started. I really enjoy the character because it's very close to Raegon Reed's The Mercenary. It's basically Raegon. Wow, that is a loud truck that just went by. But anyway, so I guess I'd say that if we're talking about individual, like a single video in the series, I can't pick one just yet. I think next week's might be my favorite, and you'll all get to see why. So we'll just go for that for now. Is there any future plans for the channel, like the type of video I look forward to making the most? It's kind of similar to a previous question, but I would say more series. I really enjoy the series. I enjoy the drama of the series, and I also enjoy using my voice in different ways, as most of you have discovered. I love voice acting. I love using different voices. I love using funny voices. We'll see if we can get into more of that in the future. So thank you both for your questions. Much appreciated. So this moves on to Lovebug Miko 1988. Hello, Lovebug. Congrats on 1K. Thank you very much. Your audios are awesome. Thank you again. My question is, what interested you in ASMR? And would you collab with others or no? What interested me in ASMR? I found ASMR actually a long time ago, and I found it through the Fine Brothers, I believe they were called. They used to do those reactions. I don't know if they're still around. They were sort of making fun of it, and it was like, that is kind of weird. And then I started listening to it, and I was like, yeah, it's not for me. And then I found RPs, I found role plays, and I love stories, and I love listening to great voice actors. And so I started listening, and then I was like, I can kind of do this. And it took me a long time to finally get started, but I have. So that's roughly what interested me in ASMR. Would I collab with others or no? The answer to this is yes, and I have done quite a few collaborations. If you go on my channel, you will see a playlist with almost all of my collaborations. I have a few more that I have yet to add. I will link them into that. And I have a few backlogged now, even though I've said I'm not doing any more collaborations. I have like 3 or 4 I still need to record. They're coming, guys. They're coming, I promise. So thank you, Lovebug Miko, for your questions. Next up, Maladaptive Daydream. Hello, Mal. How are we doing today? Mal from Twitter. She asks, do you feel that you've been typecast yet in collaborations? If so, as what? Are you good with that? Do you want to branch out, or what? Well, thank you for those mini questions, Mal. Yes, actually, I do feel I have been typecast in my collaborations. And for those of you that don't know, go check out the playlist. You will see for yourself. If so, as what? I have been typecast as the villain. There are a few that I'm not the villain in. I play a fiance in a few. I've played a father in a few, although, a little bit of a troubled relationship. But for the most part, I have played a villain. Am I good with that? Absolutely. Playing the villain is so much fun. I love playing a villain. They're a blast to be, and more often than not, I find them to be more interesting than the hero. Do I want to branch out? I mean, sure. Or what? Sure. If someone asks me to do a collaboration and it's different or new, absolutely, I'll give it a shot. But I also will not hesitate being a villain more. I enjoy it quite a bit. And this runs into the next question. Noir VA. Noir, the wonderful, talented Noir. You may have noticed that I have filled a couple of her scripts. She is fantastic. Fantastic voice actress, VTuber, and writer. Go check her out, please. Honestly, you're missing out if you don't. But Noir asks, if you could be typecast into a role, which one would it be and why? I'd go with the villain. If I have to be typecast, I'd rather be a villain than anything else. They're more fun, they're more dynamic, and like I said, I find them overall more interesting oftentimes than the hero. So thank you, Noir. Again, guys, go check her out. And check out Mal too. Great VA. All right. Let's move on to Caesar. Caesar's been around since the very beginning. Caesar asks, if you did a live stream, what would it be? Well, that's a good question, Caesar. I've actually done a few live streams, 2 to be exact. And I plan on doing one, if not tonight, the day this releases, Saturday night for sure. So a little bit of info about my live streams. I have a shitty old computer. I will be saving some money in order to buy a pretty good PC here soon. Eventually. But for now, my computer cannot live stream in YouTube or Twitch. Discord is different for some reason, but YouTube and Twitch cause my CPU to go to 100%, and my computer basically brick itself unless I stop. So that's a no-go. However, I do have an Xbox Series X. It's limiting in what it can do, but I can stream to Twitch from it. I'd have to pause a game in order to do just chatting, which is fine. And there are major limitations to what I can put as far as overlays and everything else. Most of the overlays only work on your PC if you're watching. There is a website you can go to look at the overlays through mobile. I will be posting that in every chat on Twitch, and you guys will be able to see that from there if you want. Otherwise, it's just me talking into a mic and playing some games and just chatting with you guys. So that's what we'll have to do. Also, you're gonna have to bear with the picture, with the graphics, with whatever you want to call. The bit rate is pretty low. I live in the boonies, for those that don't know, and my internet is not the best in the world, but I will be streaming at some point. I will post it on here. I will post it on Twitter and let you guys know if I'm doing it tonight or tomorrow, but I will be streaming, so feel free to come hang out. Thanks again, Caesar, buddy. It's always good to see your questions and your comments. Moving on next with Grass with a B. What's your biggest pet peeve? Well, my biggest pet peeve, Grass with a B. I have many. If any of you have had the wonderful experience of being in a VC with me, or talk to me long enough, you know I have many pet peeves. One of them, almost the first one that always pops in my head, is dog-earing books. I have a collection of books. I take very good care of them. I've had most of them since I was a kid. Do not dog-ear books. Do not do that. That is one way to get me annoyed very quickly. And if for some reason I ever let you borrow one of my books, if I find it dog-eared, you will never hear the end of it, and you will never borrow another book from me ever again. So I guess that's the first one that pops to mind, so we'll go with that one. But just know, I have many. So thank you, Grass with a B, for just making me feel agitated by just thinking about someone dog-earing a book. All right, so let's move on from that with Marl's Mellow Audios. Marl's, how are you doing? One of my good friends on Twitter, shenanigans with Pomeranians and everything else. Marl's is a great up-and-coming VA. Go give her a listen and compliment her as much as you can. She loves it, I promise. Give her all the compliments in the world. All right, so she asks, something I'm embarrassed about. Okay. Well, you didn't put a question mark, so that's not really a question, so maybe I should disqualify this. No, I'll answer. All right. There are a few pretty embarrassing moments that I've gone through, but the first one that pops in my head, which looking back on it is both very embarrassing, but also, I guess kind of cool, but I'll go ahead and go with this one. So 8th grade, middle school, where I went to school, when it would rain, there was no else for us to, no really where for us to go. So what they do is they'd open up the gym, and we'd all go hang out in the gym before school. And the gym was full this day. It was raining a lot outside, and I, with my friends, was at the top of one of the sets of bleachers, like the top right corner, I believe. And we were playing around or whatever, and there was a big empty space in front of us, and I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but I was showing off or doing something, and I slipped, and I fell down the bleachers. Like ass over tea kettle, fell down the bleachers. All the way down, hit the bottom. The whole auditorium goes silent, and they're all seeing if I'm okay, because like I'm talking about, I flipped down these bleachers. Okay. I have my backpack on. I stand up. I'm somehow not hurt. Now, I got some bruises later, but at the time I felt nothing, not hurt at all. I stand up, brush myself off, look around, and walk directly out of the auditorium. So that was fun to live down for a while, but at the same time, you know, standing up, brushing yourself off, and just walking away after that, I think, you know, shows some form of resilience. But that's one of the most embarrassing moments. There are a few more, but you asked for one, so you got one. Thank you, Marls. Everybody go follow Marls. All right. Next question. Vic Lindvey. I hope I got your last name right, buddy. Vic is a fantastic, very underrated VA. He plays Colin in the You've Got a Deal series. I'm telling you guys, go check out his stuff. He is fantastic. Also a pretty good buddy. He asks, if I could spend one day with any professional voice actor, who would it be and what would you do? There's a few people that pop in mind. Professional voice actor, I mean, I think you have to consider James Earl Jones as a professional voice actor. I mean, he's voiced one of the most iconic characters of all time, and he only portrays the voice. That would be one Darth Vader. So he would be fun. But I think if I have to pick one, which I won't, I'm cheating here, I'd pick the Critical Role crew, either Matt Mercer or Travis Willingham. I think it would be a blast. I'm a big D&D fan. I think it would be awesome to play D&D with a bunch of professional voice actors and just be blown away at their range and what they can do. Yeah, so that would be my choice. I'd play D&D with them. So Matt Mercer, D&D, that's what I do. So thanks, Vic. You're doing a great job, and You've Got a Deal, by the way. Again, go check him out. He's fantastic. All right, and that brings us to another good VA friend of mine, Delmira ASMR. She does such great work, especially some of her recent series. You guys have to go check her out. It takes her a while to get anything out, just like it does with Vic, but I promise you they're worth it. Go check it out. She has 3 questions. Her first question is, if you could have voiced any Disney character, who would it have been and why? So I briefly looked through these questions before I answered them, like skimmed through, and for this one, I still don't know the answer to it. Now I'm gonna have to make a cut. All right, sorry about that, guys. Got a phone call. So, Disney character, why would I have voiced them? Who? What? Why? I guess if I had to pick, it's a tie. I'd say I love to have voiced Scar, or from Lion King, obviously, or Hades from Hercules. Now, I will say that I could not outdo either Jeremy Irons nor James Woods, but those 2 characters would be a lot of fun to play. A Scar I could play similar to the way Jeremy Irons did, obviously not out voice, but similar. Hades I'd probably play a little bit more insidious, but either one of those characters would be a lot of fun to play. So Delmira asks a second question, which is, do you come across any difficulties being a VA, like editing, getting into character, recording? I absolutely hate editing. So yes, I hate editing. Getting into character is not so hard for me. I have a method, but no one asked me that question, so maybe the next Q&A I'll go over it because it's long. But getting into character isn't too difficult. It takes a while to find it, but I like doing that. And then recording. Recording can be a hell of an issue with the loud noises. I'm going to have to make myself some booth at some point, but between my monitor wanting to randomly heat click for some reason, or the biggest obstacle usually is either my dogs or cars. Cars outside are a nightmare. I live in the boonies, and this mic picks up every single car, no matter how far away it is, it seems. But anyway, so yeah, I guess that answers that question. And number 3, this is similar to a later question, so we may bring this back later, is if you could jump into any book series and live in that world, which one would you choose? Any book series. So we'll answer the later question differently. Any book series. So specifically book series. There's a few I really love. I love Lord of the Rings series, but hell no. I love the Dresden Files, but again, I'm good. There's quite a few series I love. If no one has checked out the Gentleman Bastard sequence, or the Gentleman Bastard series, I highly recommend it. Like, it is excellent. The Gentleman Bastard trilogy. The 4th book should be coming out soon. It's excellent. The first book is called The Lies of Loch Lamora. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. I think it's one of the most underrated books that's out there right now. But no, I wouldn't live there either. If I have to choose one, I'd go Harry Potter. Who wouldn't want to have gone to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry? I don't care if they have American schools. We all know Hogwarts. That would have been a lot of fun to go to. So if I had to pick one book, I guess I'd go with Harry Potter. So thank you, Delmira. Again, guys, go check her out. Great VA. And this is following us up with Katerina Marie, another VA. Go check her out. She's pretty dang good. All right, so Katerina, man, I'm butchering names now. Katerina Marie, this has been going on for so long, guys. What made you start doing audios? What was the motivation? And this is very similar to the following. Aspie Voices. Aspie Voices, another great VA. I've done quite a few collabs with her. You can go check her out. She's amazing. She asks what my inspiration is, specifically why I started VA ASMR, and what and the inspiration for my name. And then this follows another question here that we'll get to in just a second. But first, let's tackle why I started doing audios and what's the motivation. I started doing audios similar again because I've always loved using my voice. Since I was a child, I've had a deeper voice. So I started getting a deeper voice when I was around 10 years old. So much so that my family used to call me the Frog, because this deep sort of voice croaking out of this small child was rather amusing to everyone. Ignore the car. And I've always been fond of mimicking voices I'd hear on TV. So whether that's from watching British television and trying to do a horrible British accent, or just funny voices, it's always been something I've liked to do. And when I got into D&D, I did it more and more, and I figured it was time that I tried my hand at storytelling, whether that's reading scripts or whatever else. And so yeah, that's why I started doing them. And the motivation again was, I like using my voice, and if people enjoy hearing me read stories, I mean, what's better than that? So I suppose that's the inspiration and the motivation. Now, Aspie, I hope that first, Katerina, thank you, and Aspie, I hope that answered the first part of your question. Second part of your question is my name. So this leads into this third person here, another fantastic VA. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, another fantastic VA and a very, very good friend. Aya VA, you guys really ought to check her out. Her audios are fantastic. She's very busy, so her audio schedule can be a little erratic, but she's fantastic and a great friend. Who is Raegon Reeds? Why, thank you for that very, very, very vague question, but she does specify I can answer in any way I want, whether it's a little bio, specific traits, or just a teeny bit of lore behind the character, roots, / and or how he has become who he is, smiley face. So she intentionally put this in here because she knows I ramble. And at this point, if you're listening to this, at this point, I'm going on 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Now, this has been split into multiple videos, but she intentionally put this in here so I would ramble. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum because we're at 30 minutes. So, how did I get my name? This is for both Aspie and Aya here. So, Raegon is actually my first ever D&D character. Raegon was my first D&D character. He has a different last name, and that will be incorporated into lore. But that's how I got my name, Aspie, and Aya, who is Raegon Reeds. We'll go with the lore bit just a teeny bit. Raegon Reeds was a D&D character. His last name is not Reeds. I figure that would just be Raegon Reeds. You know, I read stories, I read scripts, so Reeds. But Raegon is a D&D character. He was a fighter / paladin, now mostly a fighter. He has a very rich backstory that some know a little bit of. I've been asked many times to provide lore, but I've not gotten there yet. A little bit of lore. He is Raegon, for reasons, is 136, I think, years old. There are reasons behind this. He is a human, so obviously very old for a human. How do you get there? I guess you'll find out in lore. But yeah, so human, fighter, paladin, mercenary, which is why I'm so close to the mercenary character. His whole background is he's from a mercenary company, and he's a pretty he can be both serious and comic relief. And I've been playing this same character for going on almost 8 years. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what we'll leave with that because I can't ramble anymore. We're at 33 minutes now. So thank you for the question. Aya, I'll get more into that later. And Aspie, I hope that answered the name question. All right, let's move on to Streaky. Streaky, another great VA. As we're seeing, we're running into VAs now. I highly encourage you guys to check him out. And he leaves me a fantastic question, which is, what is my favorite kind of pancakes and what do I like to put on it? So I'm a very basic pancake guy. I like fluffy, normal pancakes. I will eat chocolate chip pancakes, absolutely. I will eat blueberry pancakes, strawberry pancakes. I'll eat them. They're great. They're tasty. Won't turn them away. But a basic, fluffy pancake is where it's at for me. And then what do I put on it? Again, I love fruit toppings. Whipped cream's great. Peanut butter on pancakes is fantastic, along with syrup. But to keep it classic, fluffy pancake, buttered, syrup on top. I go with maple syrup. That's personally syrup I like, but also honey's great on them. But fluffy, butter, syrup, done. Thank you for the question, Streaky. Guys, go check them out. Now we have an interesting question from Tiny God. Tiny God asks, who's my favorite character and what character I want to personally kill and why? So, as far as who my favorite character is, are we talking like of overall fiction, or are we talking characters I've performed? If we're talking characters I've performed, again, I'd say Mercenary. Barely, because my villains are fun too. And a character I'd want to personally kill, well, that's a little harsh, but personally kill, it would not be the Duke, which a lot of people want to personally kill. But the very first audio I ever did on this on this channel, and with the worst audio quality, I may redo it, is a guy who is not a good guy. He's very sympathetic. There's a lot of emotion in that, but he's not a good guy. Like, he's a total douchebag for what he does. And if you go listen, you'll hear it. But if you don't want to, honestly, the audio quality is garbage, so I wouldn't even recommend it. If we're talking about general, like, big overall fiction spanning, I'm going to go very basic here to try to keep it short. I'll say Batman is my favorite character. He has been one of my favorites for a long time. There are a lot of others that would also pop up in there, but I'm just going to say Batman. He's one of the best. And then which character I'd want to personally kill? Again, off the top of my head, I'm not thinking of one I'd want to personally kill. There are a few characters I don't like, but personally kill, I don't know. Alright guys, so I actually paused this to see if I could think of a character I'd want to personally kill that hasn't already been killed, and I can't. There's plenty of Game of Thrones characters I'd like to kill. There's plenty of villains, but there's not one that's sticking out above all the others at this moment. So I'll have to say right now, I can't really think of one. Sorry about that, Tiny God, but I hope it got good enough. Next up we have is Flower, who's been on Twitter quite a bit and for a long time. Let's see, Flower, and she is the last question. All right, so Flower, you get the last question, and this was related to Delmira's question, which was, if you could choose one place, fictional or not, where you can live whenever you want, which one would you choose? Okay, so where I could live, I'd love to live, actually that's pretty simple. If I have a choice to live, there's plenty of beautiful places I love to live, but I've always really, oh my goodness, what a loud vehicle. But anyway, I've always wanted to live in the Smoky Mountains, particularly East Tennessee, in a place called Wares Valley. I'd highly recommend you guys go look at it. You can go to Pigeon Forge if you want, but Pigeon Forge is basically like a giant all-around fair all the time. It's sort of been, thanks to Dolly Parton, it's sort of been overdone in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of Pigeon Forge. Gatlinburg is a bit better, but these are both really touristy scenes. You go to Wares Valley, you go to East Tennessee, you go to the Smoky Mountains to check out the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. You check out amazing hiking trails, amazing views, and some really, really cool Appalachia history. That's what you go to do there. If I had whatever I wanted, I'd build a really nice cabin up there, and that's where I would live. If we want to go fiction where I'd want to live, not including books, as we covered that earlier, any sort of fictional place I'd want to live. That's not Harry Potter. A fictional world. That would be a lot of fun. It would be, let's go futuristic here, and while Star Wars would be interesting to live in, be a Jedi would always be cool. Although the Jedi are not the good guys. Controversial statement. Don't at me, bro. I would say Mass Effect. And I don't mean Reapers killing everyone Mass Effect. I mean the world in general. Mass Effect is an incredibly interesting world. The layout between the different aliens and the civilization and everything. I really love the Mass Effect games. I may stream those at some point. I recently bought the trilogy again. So Mass Effect, I think, is the world I'd choose. It would be pretty fun. So now that we're clocking in at 40 minutes. That will bring this Q&A to a close. I will do another one in the future at some point, maybe at 10K, 5K, something like that. If you guys want to hop over in the stream, whether it's tonight or Saturday, you can ask me more questions there. I'll also turn on the Talonum app app in Twitter, so you guys can ask me questions in there too. But for now, that is it. This has been Raegon Reads asking your questions. I hope you enjoyed my answers, and if you're still listening, bless you. I am so sorry for this being so long, but this is where we're at. So thank you guys for all your support. Next week we are going to be getting You've Got a Deal number 11, and it is going to be an absolute blast. We have more VAs popping in, and it'll be a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for your support again. This has been Raegon Reads, and have a good night.